Hi everyone, welcome to our session. So today's session is on the Bhagwad Gita, and it's on a very exciting topic, which is on the brain. So now we're going to understand how the brain is a receiver and what kind of signals it receives and how it functions a little bit. So let's get started. So let's close our eyes, connect the tongue to the palate. Let's invoke to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. We thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly. Thank you for your divine help and protection, for illumination, abundance, and prosperity. We thank you. Let's do super brain yoga. So the purpose of super brain yoga is to balance both sides of the brain. So more important on today's topic. So what this does is, it forms a loop between the right brain and the left brain, allows access. So what it allows is the energy to flow from one side to the other side. So any excess energy from one side of the brain flows to the other side of the brain, which helps to make us more balanced. Okay. So Priya will demonstrate the exercise and I'll just do the So let's cross our arms in front of our chest. Make sure the right hand is on top. Connect the tongue to the palate. Let's face east. East is where the sun generally rises in the summer, and south is. So let's start. Inhale, go down. One. Inhale, go down. Two. Inhale, go down. Three. Inhale, go down. Four. Inhale, go down. Five. Inhale, go down. Six. And the last. Okay. So, like we said, today's topic is again, it's based on the Bhagwad Gita. It's based on this particular book, the Bhagwad Gita, by Paramhamsa Yogananda ji, and of course by and we are doing the energy interpretation, which comes from Master Choa Kok Sui's teachings of energy. Okay, so let's move on. So this is session 16. This is a book study. So this is basically our thoughts and our analysis. And of course, you're welcome to give your input because this is in a sense a book study and a study session. Okay, so there's no right or wrong. It's just we're discussing things. Okay, so how many of us have heard that the crown chakra, which is by the way the one we also activate when we do the twin hearts meditation, is also referred to as a lotus. So it is referred to as the Sahasra Chakra, and it is also referred to as a thousand petal lotus. So I tried to find a picture of a lotus. This is what I found. So, what comes to my mind is that, again, Paramahansji also mentions this, is the um, is the crown chakra actually a receiving station? Is it a receiving station for many signals, like, approximately 1,000 signals? Now, if we look at Master Choa Kok Sui's teachings, then he talks about 960 petals on the outer portion of the crown chakra, and he talks about 12 petals in the center of the crown chakra. Now, these same 12 petals also form the petals of the heart chakra, right? So that kind of gives you an idea of how the energy flows, doesn't it? Okay, so all these activities actually pass through the astral spines. So if there are 12 inner chakras and there are 12 chakras in the heart, how does the connection happen? So last episode, we talked about the astral spine. So perhaps you can check that out. Now, have you also seen pictures of the Buddha at some point? And when you see certain pictures of the Buddha, they show him with like, these twirls, or a lot of other gurus also, like they just have like a lot of twirly hair. And so, it got me thinking once. I was like, okay, so do we think that the Buddha had curly hair, or how do you know that the Buddha has curly hair, right? You don't, right? So the point is that when I thought about it, what I figured out for myself at least is that perhaps what they're trying to say is that the Buddha is a being who is able to receive a lot of signals. So how many of us have seen a radio? Yeah, like a radio. So you know that the radio basically, if you haven't seen one, then I'm sure you've seen one in your car. Anyway, so the radio, as you know, has a tuning device, right? And as you tune the device, you receive certain signals. And obviously, some radios are capable of receiving certain signals, and other radios are capable of receiving different kinds of signals, right? So all radios are not capable of receiving all the signals. What does that tell us? Perhaps our brain also is a radio receiver and it is able to receive about 972 signals. Perhaps. Okay. Why? Where are we getting this information from? Because we know that the crown chakra has that many petals. So perhaps each petal is like an antenna, okay, which is trying to receive information from a certain, what should I say, certain part of the cosmos. I guess that's the best I can think of right now. So if you just compare our brain with a radio and we are trying to receive certain rays or certain information that's going to come in through this radio receiver, then the information that's coming in will make us very intuitive, right? So for those of us who have been practicing Twin Hearts meditation for a while, or even if you're a first time practitioner, you may have noticed that once you start practicing Twin Hearts meditation, what starts to happen is that the intuition becomes very strong, in the sense that you may find that you intuitively know what kind of work to do, you know, intuitively know what to focus on today, or you intuitively know which gate to open, for example, or which job application to do first, or which business client to attend to first, right? The intuition just kind of like opens up, right? So again, when we do the Twin Hearts meditation, we are activating the heart by using the thought of a happy event, by re-experiencing a happy event. And again, when we open up the crown, also by thinking of a happy event. Perhaps it is Master Choa Kok Sui's intention to help us to become a receiver. And as we grow spiritually, you know, today we are all simple practitioners, but as we grow to higher and higher levels where we become a Paramhamsa, we become a holy master, a Chohan, a Mahachohan, an avatar, a Buddha, etc., etc. Once we go up that hierarchy, if I may say so, of discipleship, perhaps we begin to receive more and more information, which basically means that we're able to get that kind of input, right? Now, just think about it. If we were to focus on 1,000 things at the same time, ooh, how would it be, right? So, I guess one of the reasons why the great gurus are great gurus is because they're able to receive and, more importantly, to process so much information. Okay. And with this processed information, they serve the planet, they serve other people. Okay. This is what I feel. So, yeah. So, the idea is the lotus, the Sahasra Chakra is a receiving station of about 1,000 signals. Now we all know, and if we don't, we'll just do a short introduction. We all know about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic system of the nervous system, which is both connected to the brain. So from the brain, we have certain nerves coming down the spine, and they control certain organs. So over here, we have the sympathetic organs. Sorry, the sympathetic system that controls all these parts of the body, and then we have the parasympathetic system. So, and we also know that the Sushumna Nadi has two auxiliary nadis, which is called the Ida and the Pingala. And again, these are like two nadis that kind of go around the spine and they end somewhere near the brain. That has about 72,000 nadis. So perhaps after receiving those 1,000 signals that the crown receives, it perhaps transmits all this information to the various nerves, to various spines, and most importantly, to various organs. So when we do pranic healing and we are doing healing on people's bodies, on their brains, on their bodies, what we are basically possibly trying to do is to clear up those channels of communication. And once those channels of communication are cleared, then the divine energy that comes in from the crown chakra is able to flow better. Of course, it's a dual function. It's like the divine energy comes and it partially cleanses the chakras. And if we do healing from outside, then again we clean the chakras from outside. So it's a two-way cleansing process. You have divine energy coming in from the crown, and you have a healer or yourself working on your energy body from the outside, right? So the whole process becomes much more powerful, which is again why we recommend to some of our clients to please do Twin Hearts meditation frequently, if not every day along with us, okay, for faster recovery. Because a lot of times people wonder, it's like, okay, so Sheetal, if you and your team are doing the healing, then why do we need to do anything? Well, you just need to do it if you want to, because it just speeds up the whole process. Okay. Now, I think we just talked about this. Next is the parasympathetic system. The parasympathetic system is the one that handles the rest and digest functions of the body. So it is also part of the autonomic nervous system. So again, like we were saying, the energy comes in through the crown, it goes through the sympathetic system, the parasympathetic system, and then through the 72,000 nadis, perhaps it goes to each of the organs. So what does all this mean? This basically means that when our intuition becomes stronger, it's not just at the intuition level, or rather it's not just at the mental level, is what I was trying to say. It's actually going down all the way into our body, into our organs, probably all the way down to our fingertips. So consciousness is not something that is just here. Consciousness is the entire body. Our entire body is conscious. When we are young, we learn how to walk. Somebody teaches us how to walk. But today when we walk, do we actually think of all the neural firing that happens when we take a step? First as we think, okay, we need to take a step. Okay, left foot forward. Okay, to move the left foot forward, what do I need to do? I need to lift my foot. I mean, there's like so many signals going down. And then, obviously when you're stepping forward, you're looking also simultaneously at what's in front of you and perhaps what's behind you and, who else is with you. There's so many things that happen simultaneously just for one step, right? So obviously the body has a consciousness of its own. There's obviously something it's able to do on its own, right? It has its own intelligence, right? So that's the other thing to keep in mind when we are receiving healing or any kind of issue that we're having in our body. We can just be aware that these signals are coming in and that we are going to now consciously process this information and we're trying to going to improve our health. So when we say, visualize your organ as healthy, that's how it works. Okay. Okay, so these are pictures of chakras. These are chakras from the book by C.W. Leadbeater, where 7 chakras are talked about. Of course, in the Pranic Healing system, we talk about 11 chakras and then more later. Okay. Now, the astral brain. So we talked about the astral spine in the previous session. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the astral brain. So this is coming directly from the book God Talks with Arjuna by Paramhamsa Yogananda ji. So he says here that the astral body has an astral brain, which is the source of powers and instruments of the 5 senses of perception and the 5 of action. So again, those of us who have been with us for a while on the Bhagwad Gita series, I guess you have heard about this when we talked about the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And those who have not, you can go back and check out some of those older episodes. So if we look at the modern diagram of the brain, which is over here, where medical practitioners have identified which parts of the brain take care of which part of the body, right? So the 5 senses of perception and the 5 senses of sorry 5 instruments of action all have their root somewhere in the brain, right? So the brain receives signals from the cosmos. The brain transfers that to all parts of the body. Perhaps it uses these sections of the brain to then transmit this information to different parts of the body. Okay. So how does all this beautiful stuff happen? So this is again coming from God Talks with Arjuna. So Paramhansji only talks about 7 chakras. So it says here the 7 causal centers which manifest as wisdom in the causal cerebellum, intuition in the causal medulla, calmness in the causal cervical center, consciousness behind the life force in the dorsal center. So this represents Bhim, the dorsal center. The cervical center represents Yudhishthir. In my understanding, the medulla, the cerebellum, and everything above represents the Krishna consciousness. Then there is the consciousness of self-control in the lumbar center, which is basically represented by Arjun. Then we have Nakul and Shahadev in the sacral center and the causal and the coccygeal center. Okay, so this is how the Pandavas kind of manifest in the body. And obviously, this flows from the causal. Now, the causal plane is somewhere where the law of karma functions, as in, like, it decides what, uh, what is whatever the karma is, the causal body is what contains that information, and it slowly sends it down to the astral, mental, and the physical based on the development of the person. So then the question is, how does this actually flow? So it's this beautiful thing that he says. He says that it is drawn by the magnetism of sense attachment. So what that means, I suppose, is that if I'm really attached to my phone, for example, then it means my magnetism or my attraction to the phone is what causes this energy to descend further and further down. So for those of us who, when we are sleeping, we're still doing the same things in our sleep or in our dream that we were doing in our daily life, right? That's probably because we're very, very attached to a lot of things. So again, in pranic healing, when we do this, when if you do the workshop, if you run the workshop, you learn certain techniques on how to disconnect yourself, at least at the time when you're sleeping, so that your dreams are of better quality and so that the intuition can become more powerful and the dreams can become more guided also. Okay. Now, so the so what causes the delusion? So again, he talks about it in the context of the Bhagavad Gita. It's basically the blind, whim-led mind, which is called Dhritarashtra. So our mind, which is deluded, which is has forgotten the Krishna consciousness, is what causes us to basically remain more and more and more attached to things that are related to the sensory organs. So the five organs of perception and the five organs of action multiplied by their propensities causes the 100 Kauravas to exist in any human being, I guess. And of course, as we slay one of the Kauravas one by one, or we slay the virtues, we move to higher and higher chakras, and we move to higher and higher. Uh, yeah, I guess we move to higher and higher chakras till we reach the Krishna consciousness. Okay. So, so there are streams of delusion that cause all of this. So we've already talked about the physical body, then the energy body, the emotional body, or the astral body, the mental body. So all of these are, to me, in my interpretation, some sense of screens of delusion. So it's like if I have, one screen in front of me, then a second one which is blue, then a second one which is green, and a third one which is pink. Then what will happen is through all these screens, I'm looking at something, but then it's not what it is because there's so many screens of delusion. So one of the ways to overcome delusion is to not tell lies. So this brings us to the character building series of suggested by Master Choa Kok Sui, is that if we are honest most of the time, and definitely not no practice of malicious dishonesty, then what will happen is that the screens of delusion begin to get removed because they are no longer required because we're always telling the truth. So again, that's a tip. Okay, so in that context, let's do an inner reflection before we move on to the meditation. Those of us who are joining us on YouTube later, you'll have to join our live sessions by texting us on the numbers below. So the first shloka of the Bhagavad Gita basically says, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, which is the blind mind, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre, which is in my body, my mind, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, assembled together, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, Mamakam Pandavascheva, Kim Kurvata, O Sanjayaha. So let us think of our day today. What did we do from the morning? Just go through, from the time we woke up, what did we do? We took a shower, we had breakfast. Just go down, the whole day and just try to think of how we did things. And if we find something that we feel, could have been done a little bit better, could have been done in a little more kind way or a loving way, then let's just think to ourselves that we are replacing that. Okay. So visualize ourselves doing the correct action or the, more loving action or whatever it is that you would like to work on. So let's pick one thing, okay? Let's not do too many things. Just go through the day, pick one little thing that happened today, which we are going to change. And these things are going to help us change our habit. So we talked about how Dronacharya is represented as habit in the Bhagavad Gita by Paramhamsa. So in order to change Dronacharya or to change habit, you have to slowly, slowly get rid of the vices, the Kauravas. Okay? So a couple of minutes of silence while you do that. Let's be aware that our brain is a receiver of 1,000 signals, and we are going to receive some of those signals for solving certain issues that we have that we ourselves know best. Okay. Let's keep our eyes closed. Let's keep our tongue connected to the palate. Let's be aware of our crown and our heart. Raise hands in blessing position. Let us bless ourselves with success in understanding the Bhagavad Gita, with success in understanding the deep teachings in Master Choa Kok Sui's simple techniques. Let's bless ourselves with the ability to overcome our blind mind with Rashtra. Let's bless ourselves with the ability to have our pandavas, our chakras, become super strong and to overcome all the kauravas, which are the vices which may be within us. Let's bless all the good work that our chakras have to do. Let's bless them with the ability, the power, the strength, with light, love, and power to achieve our goals, our targets, financial targets, relationship targets, health targets, and spiritual targets. Let's bless people who are affected by the virus. Let's bless everyone else's targets. Remember, the law of karma is always working and is very precise. So let's bless our projects. Let's fill our homes with the feeling of right activity. The Bhagavad Gita talks about Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. The Bhagavad Gita talks about how we take action to improve and to grow spiritually. So, more action, more faith, and we grow fast. Let's bless our homes with the power of Krishna consciousness. May Krishna, the master strategist, and the great lover, and the great guide, may his energy descend on our home. Let's bless our workplace. Let's bless our neighborhood, our city, our state, our country, the planet, the solar system, the galaxy, the universe, and then zoom back in. The universe, the galaxy, the solar system. Look at the planet from outside. Enter the planet, enter the country, the state, the city, wherever you're sitting right now, and enter your body. Okay. And if you open your eyes when you're ready, massage the face. This is to prevent congestion of excess congestion of energy anywhere on the body. The shoulders, arms, chest, liver, spleen, kidneys, hips, thighs, knees, shin bone, and the calves. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And we'll see you at the next session. And we are having advanced pranic healing and basic pranic healing at our Kolkata center, which is in Baliganj Place. So in case you have someone who's interested, who would like to learn, then please refer them to us and we will do our best to train them so that they can help us reach our goal of one pranic healer for family. And for those of us who have already done the workshop, please start practicing. We are also running a homework series right now. So in case you're interested in participating in our homework series, the idea basically is to take a few topics from the Basic Pranic Healing book and to send out a reminder every day for the next 28 days, just to help you and encourage you and to kind of give us a group to work with. So this will hopefully help you to practice. And in case you have any questions, then you can just put them on the group and hopefully some of the classmates will answer or one of us will answer. So I think it'll help all of us who are, you know, still needs a little bit of, help, a little bit of nudging to start the practice. Okay. So see you soon. Bye.